everybody. Welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Hannah Hillam.
And I'm Kaveh Taherian. We're back to record more audio of ourselves that can be stolen by AI and used to make fake phone calls to all of our tens of listeners, hopefully.
So if we call you asking for a money transfer, just contact me directly to give me the money. Don't answer the call.
Hi, this is Hannah. Can I borrow $700 to be buried in the bog? Thanks.
Money, please.
Money, please. Josie, toilet, Nixon. That's all we got to say.
Yeah, Josie Nixon is our code word, so you can know you're speaking to us.
If you ever get a call from one of us and we don't say Josie Nixon, or I guess keep it Josie should be the code word, really. But now the AI knows this because we've said it on a recording. Listen, we live in a dystopian hell.
I was about to say awful. We live in hell.
Absolutely hell. Yeah,
it was like that time when I was like talking to you and I was like, oh, I hope there's a hell for all these bad people. And you were like, there is, and we're in it. And I was like, oh, no, you're right.
More like I hope there's a heaven for some respite for us is really all it is.
Welcome to hell, everybody. Welcome back to hell. Hopefully this can be a little bit of respite from hell. It's September 10th, right? Well, happy September 10th.
Allegedly. I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule. Is that when this drops? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, September 10th.
Yeah. So
we just got back from we did Portland. Get back from Portland. It was a lot of fun, probably.
Yeah.
I assume it was cool.
Thanks for coming.
Kept it weird. Thank you for coming, etc., so on and so forth. Oh my God. There's all that Portland thing that happened.
When that person came and told me about that thing.
Yep.
When I ended up inevitably crying on day 3. Yeah, that was so fun.
I can't believe I was so wacky that one part where I didn't eat and I had a rice emergency because I was standing for 10 hours, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, coming up next is New York Comic Con, which is in about a month. Yep. We're going to be at the Convention Center from the 9th, 10th, 9th 11th, to the 12th. Yeah. So that Thursday through that Sunday, we will be there. We'll be in Artist Alley. Do we have a table number yet? I don't think we do.
We do. I texted it to you.
You texted it to me.
Remember it. So
it exists. We have a couple of weeks, but if you're going to be in New York, we'll be at New York Comic Con and the Javits Center where the cows kiss lizards, as we all know.
Yep. I like that. That's the one thing that we got from that. The cow tunnels, the lizards, the clavi.
That was probably,
right?
I think we talk about this one a lot because sometimes we'll talk through in like episodes that we had a lot of fun doing. I feel like that one about with the cow tunnels and the Joe Reginella monuments. That was a really fun one.
I still tell people to listen because like I was telling someone, they're like, where should I start? I'm like, the New York one. It's really good. A good one. I like that one. And also we're going to have some fun New York centric extras for you guys.
Hopefully, a live stream or two. Anyway, but that's a few weeks away. In the meantime, right now, we're in a lull while we're getting prepped for the next convention, which means we can actually do proper tabs. Yeah. Is it the fall? What time does the fall start? I think it's the end of September. So we're not
the 22nd.
We're at the end of summer, but we're approaching the fall.
Yeah.
We have had a lot of people that we wanted to. I'm sure you guys have noticed we haven't had a lot of guests this season. That's because scheduling has been weird, and I feel like we're just going to end up having like 17 guests in a row. So get ready for that coming this fall.
That'll be coming this fall. A lot of guests, which is a lot of fun and good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We got some fun ones.
Yeah, we got some good people that I think you guys are going to be very excited to hear from.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think there's anything else we need to catch up on. We can get right into it, yeah?
Yeah. Let's do it.
You're first this week.
Well, okay. So I've been kind of almost doing this tab for a few weeks now. But it kept kind of breaking my brain in like a deep philosophical way. And so I had to take a step back.
Oh, right. This one. You had mentioned this to me a couple weeks ago when you were freaking out about it.
Yeah. Well, and I was good. I left it. It's like doing like a piece of art where you're like, if I look at this one more time, I'm going to lose it. So I put this away. I shelved it and I came back and I was like, oh, I know how to simplify this. Easy-ish.
Important lesson for creatives. Sometimes you just need to walk away. Take a stroll around the block, come back to it and say, oh, I forgot. But just long enough so you don't remember it anymore or that you've forgotten about it. That's when you can't just give it like an hour and then you come back and you're still thinking about it. It's got to get to the point where it no longer is in the forefront of your mind.
Right. Or you have something else and that can kind of be something you look at out of the corner of your eye and be like, oh, yeah, okay, now I get it. Now I know what to do.
There's an episode of Mad Men where I think Don Draper mentioned something like this. And I'm paraphrasing very poorly, but it's like about this subject. I think he's talking to Peggy and he's like, think about it intensely and then completely stop thinking about it and forget it.
That's a great advice.
And I'm like, that's kind of what it is. That's honestly all it is. You just have to like spend so much time that you exhaust it and then just completely put it out of your mind. And then you come back to it and you're like, oh, I get it. It might take longer than you'd like, but it's not up to you. It's kind of up to the universe, if you will. Now I'm getting philosophical.
Oh, we're about to get, this topic is, we're going to do a lot of personal discussion in it as well.
And, I like that. I always like those ones. You know me, I'm a dork. I'm kind of like a philosophical dork, but I don't really allow that on the show as much because it tends to go on for way too long. But that is a side of me I don't really share that often.
Hopefully we can share a little bit of that because today I'm going to be talking about the perception of time across cultures.
Across cultures? That's cool.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that.
I got sucked into this topic by watching a reel on Instagram from user at Mumbai Poetry. And they talk about how many cultures, especially in the East African Bantu communities, conceptualize the passage of time very differently than the U.S. So the Bantu have 2 time dimensions compared to the 3 that we have, which are past.
Bantu, if you will.
The what?
The Bantu, if you will.
Oh, that's a good one. Bantu.
That's that great philosophical thing I was telling you about.
Look at that big brain. Big pulsing smart boy brain. Ooh. That was the face of a philosopher. No. I'm going to stumble through this, but this is my favorite.
No, you're doing great. Love it.
This got me on such a, like, I watched this reel and I felt just pure joy. So
this sounds awesome. Keep going.
The Bantu have two dimensions of time, whereas we have 3, which is past, present, and future. Mm-hmm. They have Zamani, which is big time, or macro time, and they have Sasa or Sasha, which is the now.
Random interjection. Zaman in Farsi is like the duration of something. So I wonder if that's like a crossover word. Yeah.
Oh, probably.
That's kind of wild.
Because in the reel, she was talking about how anyway, I went and got on this big rabbit hole, and basically there is no term in any Bantu language for the future, which blew my mind because we're from a very future-centric society. So people mistake this for meaning that these people don't have goals or hopes or dreams. They do. They just see them on a shorter time frame than us, where it's like they don't really hold on to anything that could happen in the distant future because none of that is near and it hasn't begun to happen yet. Mm-hmm. When it comes down to the near future, like within days and weeks and possibly a few years, that's normal. They have that. The Bantu live here and now with the people around them, and that is what drives their lives. They ground meaning in the here and now, the people around them. Everything revolves around that, which means you contribute to the communalism of the culture, which is a lot of these like African cultures are very communal, where that is the center of life. Like you don't leave the community, you contribute to it. And it's not like it's less of like an individualistic view of things. Like you don't just go off and do your thing. You better your community, which anyway, I'm already getting back into this. Okay. Way back into, okay, hold on. Okay. So I skipped a whole part. Anyway, so don't go thinking that they don't have a future. They just don't put emphasis on the distant future. So, and again, not all African societies are like this. It is mainly on the Eastern African coastline in the Bantu communities. So this got me reading. I was like, how do other cultures perceive time? Mm-hmm. There's got to be a bunch, right?
Of course, yeah.
So I Googled time perception across cultures, and I fell down an abstract, confusing, fascinating rabbit hole where I have come away with an understanding of time colonization.
Whoa.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
The idea.
Now we're in some real shit. Love it.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I'm in. Go. Take me down the wormhole.
Okay. So we end up talking a lot about colonization on this show because most of the history we read about is structured around the Western world that wrote that history and that built on, their colonization. And languages and ways of life are often buried and forgotten, erased by the invading culture. Religions.
Yeah. Obviously, in Iran, it's like, I don't remember.
I was going to say,
something. Yeah.
Zoroastrianism is barely hanging on by a thread, but, one of the oldest religions on earth. Because most indigenous societies in the world, as well as quote unquote Eastern societies, such as like East Asia, all of Asia, Iran is one. A lot of the Middle East are what they call polychronic as opposed to monochronic.
Smoking that polychronic shit. That's how I ended up with all these rugs. Let's weave it, bro. It's time to weave some shit. I'm all messed up from that polychronic. I don't know.
Keep going. I'm letting you. No, see, polychronic sounds like an awesome name for a strain of weed.
Polychronic's just like, bro, what if we got pigeons to deliver messages and we built them a giant house?
But wait for the watermelon aspect of this, because there's a watermelon aspect of this.
Bro, their shit makes the watermelon taste dope.
Well, it's actually, now that you say that, that does have a lot to do with like the way that
someone just looks at them. They're like, Askar, you're smoking too much of that polychronic shit. Cut it out.
Dude, polychronic is everything. Yeah. Hold on. I'm getting too excited. So certain societies are polychronic. Okay. Latin America, and Africa, Asia, and the Middle East are all generally polychronic. And I do want to point out before I get into this that I am not trying to generalize anyone's culture. I am simply going by, I guess the generalization. The general idea of how different areas of the world conceptualize time.
Hashtag not all Asian people / South American people / who was African true. People. Yeah, hashtag
because Japan is not polychronic.
What is polychronic?
So I'm going to get there. So polychronic culture measures time through interpersonal relationships and social events. And monochronic cultures measure it by clock time or a linear march of hours that they adhere to. So the clock controls monolinear and events control polychronic.
It's interesting that you say that because the first example I can think of is meeting you. And my friendship with you is something that we talk about where you and I are like, oh, it feels like we've known, like in polychronic time, you and I have been friends for quite some time.
Like 300
years. For like 300 years, because of the intensity of the bond and how much we've covered and how much we've info dumped and everything on each other. But in terms of monochronic
how instant
time,
it was.
Yeah. And then monochronic time, it's like, it's only 4 years, something like that.
4 years, but there's a huge...
It's kind of funny to think about it like that. Yeah.
I like that you brought that up, and maybe I'll just jump right to it because an aspect of polychronic, I mean, and before I get into this part, I come from a dual community. So I grew up in a very insular society that was very polychronic at home. But in the workplace, it was all monochronic. So I am very much down the middle, which was a very interesting thing to see. And I think you're the same.
Yeah, that's correct? Probably true. I mean, I grew up in America, so it's,
You had to adhere to the monolinear. Anyway, I'm getting too excited again. So the whole thing with our friendship is that people in polychronic cultures tend to make friends and connections intensely. And to have those center.
Interesting.
Yeah. To have some friendships based on the idea of just being a community where it's like we are connected as human beings and time moves around our relationship as humans. Whereas monochronic cultures are very like, well, yeah, we'll be friends for as long as we need to be friends. Or as long as we're working together, or as long as, and it's a little more...
Is it also like maybe to say like, I've known this person for X many years, so therefore their friendship is more valuable because of the number of years that I've been friends with you as opposed to the intensity? Because I've known people for like 20 years that I'm like kind of friends with, but I would not say that like the intensity of that friendship is as meaningful in terms of time.
You don't measure friendship by time.
Yeah, you measure it by intensity. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, I never even thought about that.
Like, I know that if you and I, let's say we stop this podcast and we both do totally different things, I know
everybody
that
would be relieved, first of all. Yeah.
Like, thank goodness.
So tens of people's lives would be fixed in an instant.
They'll just get the AI voices of us and have us say horrible things. But it tends to, let's see, what was I just saying? Oh, I could guarantee that if that happened and you and I didn't talk all the time like we do now, we would hang out and it would go right back to how it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Based on the way our friendship is, rather than it being like, you're my colleague. You know what I mean? Like, you're... I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds now on that. But that is interesting that you pointed that out because that fits very much into what...
I'm polymonochronic like you.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing where it's like a lot of like first-generation immigrants are also that way, where it's like they come from polychronic societies and then are forced by survival to be monochronic. So I'll get back to because I could talk about this forever. So Where am I? Oh,
sorry,
so
I interrupted.
No, I love that. The anthropologist Edward T. Hall coined the terms polychronic and monochronic in the 80s with those descriptions that monochronic approaches, they emphasize focusing on one activity at a time. Polychronic focuses on multiple things at once. That's how he defined them. Which it's funny, when I went and read about these, it was all from monochronic sources trying to figure out polychronic cultures in the workplace, which tells you all you need to know about this country we live in.
Outside
it's all
work,
just like,
nothing matters.
Why are they like this? Why is my entire team of Latin Americans always 10 minutes late? It's like, because they're from a polychronic culture, and that means nothing. Being right there at 6 o'clock means literally nothing. And to them, and again, this sounds like I'm generalizing, but you and I have experienced this firsthand.
I was like,
in
we
our
both
marriages.
have,
We're
both married to members of the Latin persuasion.
Watching time move fluidly around them is one of the most mind-boggling, frustrating things on earth.
Oh, it's infuriating. It bends to their will.
And then everything's fine.
Everything's fine. And I'm like, why? And she's always like,
so
why are you
likable.
so stressed out? It's fine. And I'm like,
I've been sitting here for an hour.
I'm trying to merge between mono and poly.
I was excited to get to that part too, because we both talk about this a lot. We're just like, why, how did we end up late? We all got ready on time.
Yeah.
Or like I always tell the story of how we were late because Sean was shaving his beard in the parking lot.
I die laughing at that story.
Before we went into an event, and I was like, So examples of polychronic time are, like I said, Latin America, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. And they see time as cyclical and event-based, so engaging in several things at once, as opposed to one task seeing through to the end. They're socially centered. Human interaction is prioritized. When you get there is when you get there. And finishing an activity or conversation comes when it naturally ends, when the conversation comes to a natural ending, instead of being like, oh, it's time for me to go to my next thing. That comes first. If you have a long conversation and you're supposed to be somewhere else, then that person you're supposed to meet should understand that you just had a long, important conversation. And that comes first. Point is that silent language of time and showing somebody like, oh, I'm going to be late to show you that I'm in control, or I'm going to be early and show you that I am in control. It kind of comes down to this weird communication
power move thing. Yeah.
Power moves that is very based in monochromatic time. Monochronic time.
Right. It's like it's the Western rock star thing of like, I'll show up 3 hours late, or like, because my time is more valuable than yours.
Because I chose. Exactly. But that goes back to the whole issue that the way we value time in America is it's a commodity. Time is there to be used and spent, and there's only a limited amount of time every day, and you have to use every hour to your advantage and slowly use the day as a ladder. What?
Question, just kind of playing devil's advocate here. What if rock stars and musicians are living on poly time, and they're being forced to adhere to monochromatic? What was it again? Monochronic time, but they've become because they're so in like, I have to write music and play music, and like they're all about the vibe, and then it's sort of like they break out of this and they have no concept of anything anymore, maybe. Which
is why they also that's not devil's advocate, because there's actually because like I said, there's these generalizations, but within these cultures, some people are just naturally polychronic, or a lot of people with ADHD tend to be polychronic, and I happen to have a Latino ADHD husband, so it just doubles down. Triples, quadruples down.
Latina ADHD wife, so I get it.
It's anyway, I knew I'd just go off and crazy. So back to the polychronic strain of weed. Okay, so time is seen as it's an existing thing that is always there and that you can't control it, and it flows around you, and you do things within time. Time does not dictate when you do the next thing. Plans are always up for changing very easily.
Sorry, this is polychronic. Yes.
Okay. Polychronic. And so there's an example in Hawaii, because, in Hawaii, they say haole for non-Hawaiians. That's the term they have for non-Hawaiians. They have haole time and they have Hawaiian time. So they specify, okay, are we meeting at 2 o'clock haole time, or are we meeting at 2 o'clock Hawaiian time? And they'll say haole time, which means you have to be there at 2 o'clock. Otherwise, you just get there when you get there, and everyone's fine with it.
Yeah. We have that in every single Persian party, is like, you say 7 o'clock, with the understanding that everyone will get there by 8:30. It's like, Persian
Same,
Mehmuni time.
Well, I saw this thing that was like PST, Persian Standard Time, which we used that in Utah for MST, Mormon Standard Time, because it was the same thing where there was a set time, but then it was like, well, everyone's going to be late.
They're not going to be here on time, yeah.
No, like, we'll just plan on that.
Unless it's Nowruz. That's the only time where time is very strict.
Oh, right, because it's very like, today's the day.
The clock strikes at a different time, so like you have to make sure you're there in advance in order to like fulfill all the whatevers. But that's only because it's like the one thing that is actually like regulated by a specific clock. But otherwise it's like, you say 7 for the Mehmuni and no one shows up until like 8:30 or whatever.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
So it's a little bit earlier. Yeah.
Another really interesting example of polychronic time is the Aymara people of the Andes. And they view it backwards. And to them it's not backwards, but because their eyes are looking forward, the past is in front of them because they can see all of it.
Interesting.
And the future is behind them, and they can't see it. So how would they know what's going to happen? So of course they're facing away from the future, and kind of moving backwards and seeing things as it comes and turns into the past.
That's cool.
When they visualize time, it is that way.
That reminds me of there's like a Native American lore of the backwards walking person.
Oh no!
It's supposed to be like what do they call it? I don't know. I have to remember all this. Anyway, I'm sorry. It just reminded me of that. It's like the kind of person.
Yeah.
Not the jester. It's like a.
Here,
I have to look it up. I'm sorry.
Backwards walking Native American.
It's like they're kind of like. What's the word?
Heyoka.
The Heyoka.
Yeah. A jester.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So like a psychopomp kind of Loki type thing.
Yeah. But it's also like you're kind of like you're different, but like you're wise because of that, because you're going in like the opposite direction kind of thing.
And you have to have that opposing force to things. And with the Aymara, the people who see things, quote unquote backwards or whatever, they have had to be forced into monochronic time after being colonized. They still hung on to it, but their whole world is now everyone's world is now focused on monochronic time because, and I'll get to why, but well, we know why.
The
colonization.
English. Yeah.
Well, not even the English, but the Japanese. And,
interesting.
So yeah, Japan is very monochronic, which as opposed to the rest of Asia, and China is too. China and Japan are very monochronic. The rest of Asia is a much more polychronic. So like there's this whole website I found with these Chinese people trying to like in a forum being like, how do I get my Thai coworker to be on time? And like stuff like that, where it's so funny because I think polychronic people tend to be like, yeah, whatever. Whereas monochronic people be like,
I'll do the work when I get there.
Why aren't you? Yeah, it's like, let me manage my time. Okay, so that was polychronic. Now monochronic.
Man. It's so weird. Actually, sorry, just to interject. It's like that is how we run this podcast, is completely polychronic.
Completely.
We absolutely do not do this in a monochronic way, with the exception of having to publish it. But it is constantly changing and fluid, and it's based around like, oh, well, I don't have childcare right now, so I'm not going to get there to this. And then I'll be like, okay, well, we can pick up the slack. It's so crazy. You're right. It's polychronic. It's highly communal, where it's like if one person can't do one thing, somebody else picks up the slack, or if someone's Oh, that's really great. That makes me really happy to realize that. That's very lovely. Yeah.
I think.
Sorry, I'm just having realizations as you're talking about stuff.
No, I had so many, and I had a lot of like softening up toward my spouse's culture, and like as I've been married to my husband, I remember when we first got married, me being like, "What is happening? Why isn't anybody where they're supposed to be? Why can't I communicate? Why can't anyone answer their phones?" When it kind of helped me realize while being married to him that it's not that big of a deal, you guys. I've gotten so much more lax, and I've started to realize that my monochronicness is coming from pure survival, and I have had to force and choose it every single time. Anyway, this has all been like a self-discovery for me too, where it's just like, whoa, this is how the entire world functions, and monochronic time has been very much forced upon us in a colonial sense, forced upon everyone in the world, because at this point, the main powers are nations that are monochronic, and they call the shots, and they call shipping times.
That's literally it's corporate structure is like all monochronic, and polychronic is very different. It's fascinating to think about like that. Yeah,
anti-capitalist is what polychronic is, because at the end of the day, it's about community. It's not about the next step of something. It can be, but you do it as a group.
I would almost even disagree. I don't even necessarily think it's anti-capitalist. I think it's just a different way of delivering something.
Yeah, true.
That could still potentially make money, like us with our dozens of dollars that we make for our Patreon. Go sign up for the Patreon. Help us become capitalist, I guess. I don't know.
Help support normal capitalism, not insane capitalism.
Support polychronic capitalism. Listen, we deliver you an episode every week. It changes 50 times between now and then in terms of our schedules, but we managed to do it because of community.
What they see exactly what they see at the and it's interesting to me because we always talk about how we have a very similar cultural upbringing in a weird way where and it wasn't until now that I'm like, oh, that's because I grew up polychronic. Everyone around me was. Everyone was like, yeah, this is a church activity. Go at this time. And it's like, okay, maybe. Or we won't do it at all. Or we'll get there and it'll be different. Or it's someone else's house. Or, you know, and like, well, also, I really value it.
Yeah.
I think it really adds to our working relationship a lot in the way that this podcast is run, because I've never had anything like this before, where it's just like, okay, the group is doing this and we're watching out for each other. And
I don't know how else you're supposed to do it. I mean, I guess you could just fire people and like replace them and switch them out until you have somebody who will like sort of be absolutely subservient. But then I don't feel like it's interesting.
Like that.
Right. As I'm saying, that it doesn't.
Then
that's not the value. But I'm saying that's not the value of what it is.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The value of an employee or a person that you like work with is not them doing exactly the thing that you're asking them to execute. It's like it's other things around it that sort of what's the word I'm thinking of that enrich, right, the experience of doing it, even if it needs to get adjusted here or there. It's like also it's like if you support the things that other people are doing, and I'm like, Hannah, I'm very glad that you're not ignoring your children and you can't do this, right? Like I would think that's bad if you ignored them in order to deliver this podcast. I would be mad at you and be like, this doesn't matter.
Family and community.
Right. As I'm saying, you're right. It all reinforces exactly what you're talking about. I'd be like, Hannah, dude, go spend time with them.
Go be with your kids. One of them is
your
sick.
husband's
Why are you
birthday.
Here?
Don't record today.
Right. It's always a birthday. Well, yeah, that comes down to what we value. And a lot of people value family, but there's this drive, this linear pull of monochronic time. And I'm not trying to say this is bad, because I don't think there's nothing inherently bad about the way seeing time monochronically. I don't think there is. It's how you treat others who don't. And it tends to be similar.
Sorry, my mind is just going into like 50 other examples that are now occurring to me as you're telling me that. I'm like, oh, right, that explains this. That explains this relationship with the person. Well, my friend Andrew, who I did the doc with, like Andrew has...
Yeah, you're ride and die.
Now he's got like 3 daughters, but like... We'd just be like on some production meeting. He'd be like, I got to feed this kid. Or like some kid would be screaming in the background. Or he's like, I got to do. And I was like, and I remember at one point he told me, he's like, I'm so glad that. And I'm like, why would that bother me? Like, I'm like, you have a life. Because every other
place it would bother.
Yeah. I mean, like sometimes if it's like screaming and like we can't focus on anything, like sure, that's like different. That would bother me. But I'm saying like the idea that would happen is not something that would be like, you brought
unprofessional.
What is it? Again, reminds me of 30 Rock, where Devin shows up to the meeting with Hank Hooper, and then what's his name? Jack Donaghy's like, you brought a baby to a meeting, and then Hank Hooper's like, you brought a baby to a meeting. Like he's really excited, and I'm like, I'm Hank Hooper there. Yeah,
that right there is the difference between monochronic and polychronic. Right there is the perfect example of it. And I come from a culture where it's like, more babies, bring them.
Bring them. Fine. Spouses. Like, also, I'm like, if I don't know your spouse, that's weird. Or like, if you don't have a spouse, that's okay. But I'm just saying, like, what's your spouse like? What's the, like, I don't know why I have to know all of it. I'm like fascinated. I'm interested in knowing about all those things. But I guess that's very poly. It's interesting.
It's at the end of this, I came to realize it's a gift. It's a gift, in my opinion, to be. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get there. I have to. Okay. So
sorry.
Now
Continue.
We're doing examples of monochronic time. Linear arrow of time that goes forward and does not stop. Mm-hmm. And they see the day as a ladder to climb, every minute counting, toward bettering yourself or getting to the next step of where you're trying to go. They're very future oriented, especially in America, where it's like, we have this goal, we have a 5-year plan, and every day I'm going to do something to get to that goal, even if it means ignoring everyone around me. And they do one thing at a time. I should say they value doing one thing at a time. Whereas, like, I can't, if I have to sit down for 7 hours, I mean, I can sit down for 7 hours and do one thing at a time if I hyper-focus. But overall, I have to bounce between things where I'm like, even my creative process, I'll sit down and draw for an hour and then I'll get up and go garden because I have to do something with my hands in the dirt.
This is fundamentally why I don't have a career. And this is why, like, every time we do a panel and people are like, he's a Renaissance man, which is like meant to be a compliment. And I'm like, it's because I can't focus on shit and I cannot commit to one career.
In a way more communal society that values the time that I put towards things. Oh, and schedules are very serious. And you and I do this too. I do adhere to a schedule because, well, actually, I don't know why I adhere to a schedule. Is it because of the fear of falling behind the monochronic time people? Or is it because I actually want to keep a schedule?
I think I've talked about this in previous episodes too, of like my years in production and working as an assistant director, is that like I realized that I had like a weird, like almost like preternatural skill for that in a way that like wasn't really like, I didn't like, that was not taught to me. That was not a thing that was like beaten into me necessarily. It's just sort of this thing that I kind of had. Yeah. But the thing I always say was that which kind of reinforces the idea of like polychronic or like ADHD or creative or whatever, is that the thing I always say is that to me, it's Tetris blocks. I'm just playing Tetris with time. And that's how I always think about it. And that was the part that was so fun about like when being an AD worked, it was about like, okay, it's going to take this long to light it. Like art, production needs to do this, or like the actors are going to take this much. So it's about figuring out a way to like get all these things lined up, and then you bring the bar down and it just boom. And then you get a Tetris. Like I was able to see time as like
polychronic
shapes and blocks. And that was the fun of it. Yes. But it's hard to turn off, and even at my own, like at the expense of my own mental health of just being obsessive about it. But like, again, it's self-reinforcing where you're like, well, your job is to make sure that things happen on time. So then it's hard to like break free of that, because you're like, oh, if I don't get things done on time, I don't make money and then I get fired. And so I've had to like really unlearn that.
I lose social standing.
Yeah.
Because that's also
or rent, or I sleep on the street because I can't pay rent.
Or I have late fees constantly, which I do.
But I think the gamification of it, the gamifying of it is the thing that I think allowed me to be able to do it as well as I did, or I don't know how well, but enough where I kept getting hired to do it,
That says something. And I think that goes back to what the pure definition of polychronic is that people who do more than one thing at a time with their time.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
And even how you see it as Tetris blocks, because I don't know how other people see it. Like I see things as a bunch of stuff happening and then it'll all come together at some point and create the end product.
No, it's weird. I can see it. It's like, okay, Alyssa has this, and like this is the value of like what her thing is going to take, and then this is your thing, and this is mine. Here's the calendar of like whatever the amount of days, and then if this, and then I'm going to pad this way. So it's literally like a Tetris game to me. Like that's just how I can see it. You're already
jumping ahead to an exercise I'm going to have you do.
Watch me do it on the show, and I'm like,
you've already done
sucks.
No, you just did it. So we'll get there, because I just got so excited you saying that. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is perfect. So now again, and they get upset when someone is late. They're not willing to wait, monochronic people, and they're more concerned with ownership of property and places and privacy, and every plan they try to follow. And the relationships they build are practical first, and then personal next,
emotional or whatever. Okay,
yeah, and a lot of cultures are also past, present, or future oriented. So you could be polychronic and future oriented. Or you could be present oriented, like the tribes in Africa are polychronic present, but other ones are polychronic future or polychronic past. So in our monochronic future oriented society, because America is monochronic future, and we're always pushing toward that goal, the milestone, buying a house, graduating from college, renting, having a certain job, having a 5-year plan, being this age when you do this, and when you don't do that, you're a failure. Whereas anybody else in a polychronic society would see it as like, well, time is happening and things are happening and you're doing stuff. Yeah. And that's what matters. Like
life is what happens when you're busy making plans, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole concept of willingness to wait. So it's hard to imagine waiting without becoming bored. Because a lot of people, if you think about it, they're like, yeah, I'll wait for you, but I'll be bored and mad. In a polychronic mind, it's not so much about waiting, it's passing the time until the person arrives. So if you're waiting on someone, like for me, I'm like, I'll just go do something else, and I'll fill my time. And if they get here, they get here, and if they don't, then that's a bummer. But I'll fill my time, but then you have a monochronic way of thinking of like, where are they? Tapping your foot and looking at your watch. Where are they? And it's like, no, you're trying to control time where you don't know what's happening with this person. They're trying their best. There's just that the idea of like, wow, very disrespectful of them to be 5 minutes late.
That's weird. That's also like depending on different contexts. Because I'm definitely like, if I make plans with someone, and like they don't show up, or they're like text me 15 minutes later, being like, "Sorry, I'm going to be 40 minutes late." I'm like,
that's annoying.
That's annoying because I'm like,
plans.
I made plans, or I went out of my way to make sure that I was here. To me, it's because Sarah and I get into discussions about this where I'm like, because to me, it's a matter of, it's weird. It's like, it's there. It is the monochronic thing that you're saying, but it's also cultural where I'm like, to me, it's about respect. Where I'm like, I value
There's that layer of
you.
It to it.
I'm going to show you the respect I have for your time by making sure I'm not late.
Yes.
Rather than being like, it's not like a transactional thing. It's more like it's this very almost, ironically, it's a Persian thing, even though Persians are late all the time. But it's like,
you guys are a conundrum.
Yeah, we really are. We're just a bucket of contradictions.
That's what I meant. Contradictions. Which is
But you know what I'm saying? I'm like, it would be impolite for me to waste your time. And the thing that would make me the most like fearful of the world is to be disrespectful or to be, impolite. And like, that's the thing that drives so much of it. So it's like, oh, well, I don't want to waste this person's time.
That's why I say that we are both from a polychronic culture that has, I'm both. Like, I truly think I'm both. Cause like when I'm late, I worry that I'm wasting their time. And I apologize. And
it's like, really interesting.
It's disrespectful. But like, is that because of the culture I grew up in outside of my insular religious culture? Or is it because that's how I actually am? So I'm like wondering, like,
this is straight up like therapy session. I'm like, oh, it's because like, that's why I have so much stress, is because like I'm built poly, but then I'm like forced to adhere to a monoculture, and then I get stressed. Like, I have been internally colonialized.
No, I'm serious. You have been internally time and space colonialized. We all have. And I shouldn't say we all, because I know, right? Like, are we just adhering to what the bosses want? And it really solidified in the Industrial Revolution when they're like, by the way, 9:00, be in the factory. And if you're not, you're fired. And so suddenly family didn't matter. What mattered was getting things done. And
which again, that's at odds. It's like, I actually do wholeheartedly reject that, using this podcast as an example, where it's like, you can still deliver. You just have to be like, your job as again, I can say this, like, I'm the person who manages this show. And like, in terms of like making sure it gets out and it's done and like on a schedule or like whatever, looking ahead, and like, it is no one week is ever the same as the previous week. Even though every episode still gets delivered on time, and we have not missed a single episode in 85 weeks that we've been doing it.
And if you hadn't have worked in film in the way you did for 10 straight years, do you think you would still have that quality, that ability to pull things all together week after week?
No, I don't think so. I think that was the training for it. But my point is that like, when you're saying that like the Industrial Revolution thing is like, we have to deliver, like we have to be like this, and this. When we do this stuff, I'm like, okay, well, we got to have room for someone. Like you and I, 5 times a week, we'll be like, oh, I can't record tomorrow. I'm still working on this. I'm freaking about it. And like, we could just be like,
hard
we don't
feelings. That's the best
part.
No,
exactly.
It's like, okay, cool. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll
That's
work
the
on
process.
Our feet.
Like Hannah needs more time to like work through it, or like, she's not quite arrived on it. And like, oh, we had this schedule.
There's construction. My kid is sick, or you're like, I have a whole like freelance job that I can't stop doing right now. So, and
as long as it, again, within reason, if there's times where we can't do it, we just have to make it work. It's just because there's forces outside of our control. But the idea of like adhering to it simply for the sake of the fact that it went on the calendar would be detrimental to, if we could call this at very best quality, if you want to even call it that, of this show.
Well, it would all become, we'd start being resentful about it. I'd start resenting it. Being like, every day at Thursday at 11, I have to do it, or else like everything's going to fall apart. When really it's like it's interesting that you brought the show into this, because now that you say all of this, it's like 100% this show is a perfect encapsulation of what it's like to work as polychronic creative people together as a group. And I don't know I think Alyssa is probably the same. And I think that's why we all work really well together, because we give each other that grace. Having a monochromatic way of seeing time is not inherent. Sorry, not monochromatic.
I also just said monochromatic.
Having a monochronic way of visualizing time and existing within a timeline is not inherently bad.
Yeah.
I don't believe that because like I said, I'm very much both in a lot of ways. But when it becomes bad is when it is weaponized by colonialism, which it has been.
Yeah.
It is weaponized by the upper class to make judgments on people who are polychronic, which is why you hear, oh, well, this, this said, it's just horrible to even repeat, but it's like, well, they're lazy because they're from Mexico. And it's like, no, they're not lazy at all. And being from Mexico has nothing to do with it.
I can tell you with my Mexican ass wife, Jesus Christ, let me tell you.
Yeah. There's no same. Dude, and it's like, no, they just don't get to somewhere the same time as you, and you value that over the output of their work, where it's like, you got to trust people to work within their time. And I understand that you can't always do that in this society.
Sure.
But next time, racists listening to this, you're like, Mexicans are lazy.
To all of our racist listeners, please go away.
Please remember that when you call, Latin Americans and like Vietnamese people, like this is all like these examples where like Vietnam is very polychronic. And people are like, well, they're lazy. It's like, so I'm sorry, what?
Jesus Christ.
I would argue that the person who is exploiting other people's time for their own money is the lazy one. All right.
Yep. That's what I always say.
You know who's lazy is Elon Musk.
People who, AI is lazy.
Yeah. Anyway.
I can't write an email.
Oh, I got to have someone else write it for me.
Here's a better question. Why does that email need to be written in the first place? Maybe the entire system is pointless. And that's what we're trying to cover up.
We are making robots do things that don't matter.
Don't matter in the first place. Exactly.
Okay. Well, so I started, and I've already gotten into this, but I started thinking about my own life and applying it to my own culture and everything. And I'm habitually early to things. But I don't think I consider myself monochronic in the end because I've developed that skill out of pure survival. I'm early so I don't lose friends or respect or a job. And I mentioned my community I grew up in. It was very understanding, very flexible, very not. And I don't know why that is because we're all settlers of like Scandinavia and England. We're very monochronic. But when you get into this very concentrated, you understand a concentrated community within another monochronic society because you're from a Persian culture. And when you're around other Persians, time does move differently.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very much so. Yeah.
But when you're not, you have to make that leap, that what's it called? Code switch.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yep.
It all comes down to code switching again. And I've been doing this my whole life. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm like an immigrant.
No. I understand what you're saying. You and I have discussed this where it's like, I always say that the Mormon community, I was like, oh, white people look at you and they're like, no thanks. Yeah.
No, thank you. I also don't trust you guys.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, you know what it's like.
Yeah. On a level, I do understand the code switching. A phrase I started using a while ago to explain things to my friends is getting hillumed. Okay? So if you get hillumed, it means that you had a plan with one of us and you had a time and you got to that place and we were not there.
Yep.
And we never ended up there. So
never ended up there. Interesting.
Or when one of us just disappears. So my dad hillums us all the time where I'm like, where's dad? And he's already walked like all the way over here. I'm like, why? Why didn't he tell us? In his mind, he's like, oh, they'll find me. It's fine.
They'll catch up.
They'll catch up. Where I'm like, wait, are we supposed to be over there? I thought we were going over here. And it's like, some could argue that that's like selfish, but he's like, I'm doing my thing until they're ready. And getting hillumed happens to me all the time. And I do it to everyone around me. So here's an example. And here's what I realized. Getting hillumed is just perceiving yourself as the victim to a polychronic culture because my dad and his sisters are the most polychronic people I've ever met. Events and plans, there are no events and plans until we are doing them actively. Yeah. Up until we start doing
they're too abstract,
It's like, nothing is settled.
They're polychronic future pasts or whatever. They're not polychronic future.
They're polychronic present.
Present, yeah.
And here's an example is my dad and his sisters were like, we're going to go to dinner. Here's the place and here's the time. And I was like, okay, I already know that 6:00 means absolutely nothing. So I'll get there when I get there. But what I didn't expect was not even finding them at that restaurant. But as I walked to that restaurant, coming across them at a different restaurant. Absolutely no communication, just sitting outside at a different restaurant. They're like, hey.
Oh, hey,
like,
what are you doing here?
Why are you here? They're like, we decided to eat here instead.
We figured by the time you got there, you would message us and be like, hey, where are you guys?
That's exactly what they said. Oh, yeah, just call us. It's like, and like, whereas my mom's side of the family is the opposite. You're 2 minutes late and they're like, this is how kids
You're
do
dead.
This.
Yeah.
You're dead to me. Intercommunally, I'm polychronic, but outer, I'm mono. And so I wanted to know, like, what are you? What do you like at the end of the day? What do you consider yourself? Like, were you raised in a house that was polychronic?
It's hard to say because I also grew up in multiple
places,
incarnations of a family between a young family that worked, when I was younger, it was a family unit. And then I was like an only child because my sister went off to school because she's so much older than me. And then I was a child of divorce. And then like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I didn't have a consistent sense of poly or mono, but I will say that like I was always very punctual. And that is the thing that my mom always was like too. I don't necessarily remember feeling like I was going to get in trouble if I was late, unless it was like in high school when you're like, you got to be home by like 10. Like that's different.
Right.
That's like,
that's safety.
Yeah.
That like comes down to like, don't be out at night. Like,
but I think based on this, I don't know, based on like what we've talked about, I think I probably perceive the world as polychronic, but I have the ability to which is consistent with everything about me, which is like, I'm a child of immigrants. I'm like, like I have 2 different cultures and I code switch. I'm an animal where I'm not supposed to be, blah, blah, blah. Like it's the same thing over and over again. It's the foundation
of your existence.
It's the foundation of my existence is being able to go between 2 different worlds. So it's like I have been monochronic and I have had to live off of that. I've had to survive off of being monochronic and then using monochronism as the actual skill that I would get paid for.
As a skill. That's a good way to put it. Like I am skilled in it, but I think my natural internal clock is not.
I think the frustrations that I have in my not personal life, but like in my non-professional life with time are a result of having been in that job. And like, it's like that, trying to break from that. But I was not like that before I did that job, if that makes sense. It's like before I was in AD, I was not as obsessed with like having to be on time, but like for so many years and so much adrenaline and stress and anxiety, just like pushing on it over and over and over and over again for so many hours. I definitely think it's like PTSD is too strong of a word. I don't want to say like I'm like traumatized, but it's like there's
somewhere in between.
A light version of it, if you want to call it that.
You're conditioned. It's a condition.
Conditioned. Yes, that's the right word I'm thinking of. I'm conditioned to be that way, but I think I guess probably polychronic, but it's like, am I polychronic?
I think
future,
we're both. I think you're both.
Past? Yeah, I guess I'm probably both.
I think that's very typical from what I've read. But I read this article from this Persian woman who was like, I'm not late. You're just culturally insensitive. Which made me laugh because I was like, that's amazing.
That's something Sarah would say to me.
And she'd be correct. That's the thing. And so I'm like constantly, bringing it back to colonialism. Mm-hmm. I do want to unlearn a lot of the colonialist timeframes. Yeah. That were kind of, which I think I've been doing, but it's interesting to look at it from that perspective because I didn't even think about that. That like, yeah, of course, everyone perceives it differently. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they? Different cultures, different religions, different what they put importance on.
That was awesome.
I know. That was my tab on time and culture. And how it affects how we interact and how it's important not to erase people's way of living and experiencing time.
That tab took a long time, but I loved every minute of it.
I'm so glad. And go to the Patreon because there's probably a lot we cut.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say like half an hour.
3 hours that we've cut out of this.
Anyway, and speaking of the Patreon, if you want to support us financially, that's wonderful. It's 10 cents a day, like I said before. We'd be very grateful. And also join our Discord.
Well, hello there, friends. If you're listening to this show, chances are high that you have a lot of open tabs. And whether it's pigeons, orangutans, or exploding whales, you're also probably somebody who cares deeply about animals. Which is why Hannah, Alyssa, and I couldn't believe today's sponsor, Tab for a Cause, actually exists, because they seem tailor-made for us and our tens of listeners. Tab for a Cause is a browser extension that displays a few ads in the corner of every new tab you open. And the revenue from those open tabs generates funds for their various charity partners. Charities like the Humane League, which doesn't just raise awareness, but also drives real institutional change for animals. Since 2007, their relentless advocacy has helped lift the percentage of cage-free hens in the U.S. from just 3% to over 45%. We here at 500 Open Tabs love animals, and as Hannah always points out, my stories are very often about animals where they shouldn't be. So, this very much warms my heart. As of July 2025, Tab for a Cause has raised over $1.9 million for charity. And your 500 Open Tabs could be making a huge difference for our fur-tabulous friends the minute you sign up. And the best part? It doesn't even cost anything. That's right, it's free 99. Just go to tabforanimals.org/opentabs to add the extension. And help spread the word by telling everyone you know. Probably not your animal friends, though, since they are unlikely to have access to the internet or understand proper any language, really. Again, go to tabforanimals.org/opentabs to add the extension and start saving the lives of our fur-tabulous friends today.
So,
yeah.
On that note, what do you have today for us? For me?
Okay. Well, so I'm going to try my best here.
Okay.
My brain feels like poolish right now. It's just like it's fermented dough that's not quite solid. You've like read, should we call it like, what do they call it? Polypilled? Like you've red pilled me into thinking about.
Polypilled you, but
you polypilled my brain.
Not polyamorous. Poly.
No,
like,
poly. Yeah, exactly.
Polychronic.
I'm poly. And
poly.
People are gonna be like, oh, you're poly.
So
I'd be like, no, I'm polyphonic.
Polyphonic.
Not polyphonic. Why do I keep? I've already forgotten everything we talked about.
Polymonic. No, Wait, we're polymonic.
Polymonic. Oh, polymonic. That's what we are. Polymonic.
Yep.
I'm many ones. Multiple ones.
I kind of love that.
Polymonic.
Polychronic.
I think that's how I identify as I'm polymonic.
Polymonic. Many of one. Yeah.
Polychronically a badass. Anyway, ignore me. So, okay.
I won't. Okay.
Let's
get back on track.
Speaking of time, of time. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, I did a tab on the Thai Select program about the proliferation of Thai restaurants beginning in the aughts.
Uh-huh.
And while I was doing the QC for that episode, I was driving down Ventura Boulevard. And then I suddenly remembered that there was another restaurant tab that I had been meaning to research forever. And this is sort of a spiritual kind of sequel to that tab.
Nice. Okay.
So I hope you ate because you're going to get hungry again with this one.
I have not eaten and I'm starving.
Great. So. Perfect.
What food am I going to go get after this? Tell me all about it.
Good. Yep. So for those of you who haven't been to Los Angeles, Ventura Boulevard is one of the primary east-west thoroughfares in the San Fernando Valley that stretches 18 miles. So it's basically from Universal Studios all the way over to Woodland Hills.
It's an 18-mile road? How did I not know that?
I don't know.
It's crazy.
But, Hannah, this is where you and I didn't go to protest that one time because we loved your leader and we would never speak out against fascism. I mean,
never.
Patriotism.
They're the same thing at this point. Yeah. The line between Ventura fascism and patriotism is thin.
Very thin. But that was Ventura. You remember the street?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, we drove down it for a while. Remember, we didn't know where we were going, and you're just like, I'm just going to drive.
We drove down. Ventura? It's like the main road. Yeah, that's the main drag.
Cool. Okay.
It's the main drag in the valley. It cuts through everything. It's also like when you come over the hill, it's the first place that's like got a bunch of shops and restaurants and bars. That's where everything is. It's kind of like the center of where you would go find something. But do you know, and I'm asking this rhetorically because of course there's no reason why you would know this, but do you know what Ventura Boulevard's nickname is?
Mm-mm.
Take any guess.
Long Road. How about the main drag? I don't know. Chad. Todd?
Monopoly, polymonic. What did we call it?
Road.
Road. Road.
Monoroad.
No. Give up?
Yeah, of course. I have no idea.
One of its nicknames.
Jim. Maggie.
Hey, I'll meet you on Jim.
Vinny.
Margaret.
Ventura.
Vinny. Oh, I like Vinny. Yeah, Venturi. Or Tura. Ra. Sun God.
Ra. The sun god Ra.
Sun god Ra. That's where I'll meet you. That's where my new restaurant is. Anyway, okay. So Ventura Boulevard's nickname, or one of the nicknames I should say, is Sushi Row.
Oh, sushi? Oh, we're talking about sushi today?
And that is because Ventura Boulevard, get ready for this, has the highest concentration of sushi restaurants outside of Japan.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah,
like
in the
just
world.
On that one road.
On that one stretch.
Why?
It's not just because it's a long ass street. And I couldn't find the exact number, but some estimations that are at like a certain point, I think around Studio City, there's like 12 sushi places in the span of a mile. Ooh. And this goes on for 18 miles. It's not necessarily that consistent all the way through, but if you just open up Google Maps and you type in sushi and then you zoom it over to Ventura Boulevard and just keep scrolling across, you'll just keep seeing sushi places. It's all the way down. Sushi's all the way down.
I don't have to do that. Go on.
Okay, so of course, I started to research it, and I was trying to figure out the story of how LA became the mecca of sushi outside of Japan. And the next thing I know, I had 1,000 more tabs open, complete with a collection of colorful characters. So my tab today is going to be about how Ventura Boulevard came to be known as Sushi Row.
There are so many sushi restaurants.
It's insane.
There are like 30. No, more. You zoom in and there's more.
It keeps going.
Okay, tell me. How did this place become the sushi capital of the U.S.?
Okay. So, no, not just the U.S., like outside of Japan. Like the only other place that has the most amount of sushi restaurants in a row is Japan. So when you leave Japan and you're like, okay, where can I get the most amount of sushi per capita anywhere in the world? You come to Los Angeles and Ventura Boulevard.
We should go sushi hopping, like bar hopping, but for sushi, and just fill ourselves.
Listen, if we're going to do that, we're going to need way more people to subscribe to the Patreon because it is not cheap to eat at that many sushi places. Let us know what your favorite sushi is in the comments.
Please.
So,
join the Patreon.
Join the Patreon, yeah. It all begins with a man named Takichi Kato.
Okay.
Now, Kato had been a chef at Japan's Imperial Palace at the turn of the 20th century and was so good that according to his granddaughter, he was known as a samurai chef, which I don't think that's like a thing, but I guess she means he was really good and disciplined like a samurai, not that he only made food for samurai, who would have been long gone at that time, having been formally banned during the Meiji Restoration 40 years earlier. But anyway, that was just kind of a fun thing that she referred to him as. So
that's awesome.
Kato, he serves, right? But then he serves in the Russo-Japanese War. And then... Like that?
Yeah, I did.
He serves and serves. And then he's serving looks as he comes to America.
He does like a turnaround. He spins around 3/4 way and just looks at the camera in his samurai outfit with a chef hat. I don't know.
Let me see. Oh, actually, I can get you a picture of his family.
Maybe she called him samurai because he was also a soldier. I don't know.
That's possible. They didn't really go into specific detail about why they called him that, but that was my estimation. So that's him in the middle with his whole family surrounding him.
Hey, check him out. He looks so nice. He's got nice, kindly eyes. Is that a weird thing to say?
No, it's fine.
It's like a solid... Look at his son's glasses. Those are awesome. He's got Harry Potter glasses.
Yeah. You say Harry Potter, I say Barton Fink, but that's just because I grew up in a different era than you.
Barely.
Anyway. So he serves in the war.
A different era.
And he comes to America and he gets married to his wife, Hana, Hana, not Hannah.
Hey.
Nice. They moved to Los Angeles by around 1920. And soon after, they opened their famous restaurant, which is called Kawafuku.
Oh, is it still there?
It is not. But here is the exterior of Kawafuku.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that is so LA right there.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's got that very like Japanese like wooden slat design exterior. It's very cool because everything around it is very much like turn of the century Americana. And then you got this that's just like, check it out. Slice of Japan.
To be fair, I'm not 100% sure what year that specific photo was taken. This might have been later.
It looks like it was taken in like the 50s, 40s or 50s.
Yeah, and like there's a bus in the corner that doesn't look like turn of the century. So I think this is maybe a little bit later.
I think this is the 60s.
Yeah, that might be right. Also the construction equipment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Kawafuku was built on Los Angeles and First Streets, which I believe is more or less where the Weller Court Shopping Center is now. Okay. And Kawafuku quickly became a staple in the community, known for its lavish banquet rooms where they hosted countless beautiful weddings. Oh. And it was capital F fancy pants, attracting all kinds of powerful people from, both foreign and domestic. So before World War II, members of the Japanese Trade Association and a former commander-in-chief of the Japanese Imperial Fleet rolled through. Uh,
Oh.
Additionally, Charlie Chaplin was a customer, and even
Oh,
Louis B.
cool.
Mayer himself tapped Kato for his talents when
Really?
Japan's Prince and Princess Kaya embarked on a tour of Los Angeles in 1934. Yeah, this was a hot spot. Here's a picture of some sort of unknown banquet, one or another. I don't know what it was, but it just says
Oh,
Kawafuku
whoa.
Dancing
Check that
Hall.
out. There's like 100 people in there.
Yeah.
Just huge banquet tables. Oh, that's cool. Are they wearing leis?
It kind of looks like that. It's hard to tell because of the quality of the photo.
I think they might
I don't know
be.
if they are. They look too, or they might look like a sash on this one other guy, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look like flowers necessarily.
No.
But it could be. But anyway, it's fancy. The food's nice. It's got this beautiful banquet hall. All these fancy people are coming to it. And, of course, Kato, he's served at the Imperial Palace. He's served in the Imperial Army. Now he's serving Japanese people when they come to America. So you probably can guess where this is going. And it should come as no surprise that after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, Kato was immediately targeted by those in power.
Yeah, makes sense. Hate to say it, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
You mean he was put in a concentration camp? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, easily. Yeah, of course. But to be fair, the impression that I got from reading about him is that even all of his family were like, yeah, he was like definitely had some serious government ties and like probably knew some shit.
Oh, no. No.
But I will say, like, simply knowing people in a foreign government and having ties doesn't implicate anyone in anything. It doesn't prove shit. It could just be like, oh, yeah, my uncle back home is like a whatever finance minister or some shit. It doesn't mean anything.
But he kind of checked a lot of the boxes they had for, someone they wanted to lock up.
Yes. As did normal, regular Japanese American citizens too. So it doesn't really mean anything, honestly. But this is just sort of like in retrospect. It's hard to talk about this because they're like, but it's funny that even his family is just sort of like, they're like, we don't really know. Like,
we also don't know.
Yeah. His granddaughter said that an aunt once translated a Japanese newspaper article about him in which he said Japanese naval intelligence came to Kawafuku before World War II, kind of like what I mentioned. But again, I think it's a famous Japanese restaurant in America. Yep. Anyone's going to try and check it out. So I don't necessarily see any connection, but due process, evidence, logic, none of that matters. Right. Because Kato and his family got rounded up just like every other person that was of Japanese descent at the time, thanks to our hero FDR. Unfortunately, we all know this tale too well.
I think we've touched on this many times.
Many times we've talked about this. Yeah, it keeps popping up, unfortunately. Well,
one of the great stains on our nation's history.
100%.
And there are many. Or what did you say? Skid mark?
Take your pick.
Skid marks on the underpants of America.
Exactly. So whatever allure Japanese food may have had for Americans before Pearl Harbor, it was all but wiped out by the time we entered the war.
Oh, sad. I didn't even think about that. There was probably a lot of Japanese restaurants and stuff. Oh.
Yeah.
Sad.
But it wasn't, so like the way you think about sushi now, like that wasn't the case. That wasn't a thing in the States. And even at this place, it wasn't like to the extent that it is now.
Okay.
And so when the Japanese were finally released from their internment camps, it was going to be nothing short of an uphill battle, because even though the Americans had won the war and decimated, Japan and all that, it wasn't like people were going to be like, no hard feelings. We're going to go back to everything and just, welcome back. Thanks. Let's just have
this land of yours that I took? Sorry, it's still mine.
Yeah.
That is what happened. A lot of them came out and were like, my house is now someone else is living in it. It's just like, there's nowhere for us to go. Great. But
miraculously, Kawafuku was still standing. It was still there. I think no one knew what to do with it in the time that they were all in internment camps. So, and also it looked like Kato, before they even went into the camps, he had been looking to hand off the reins to someone else because he was getting older and because of his health and all that. So the person that he wanted to hand it off to was a guy named Tokijiro Nakashima. And Nakashima reopened Kawafuku in 1946 as its new owner. But unlike Kato, he had a much different flair. And
interesting.
Sadly, I cannot find photos of him, but this is what I read about him. It's that he was a tall, mustached man who wore a Stetson hat and snakeskin boots and always flanked by a bodyguard.
No, I love this man. I want to draw that. Oh.
So Nakashima could be spotted around town driving a pink Cadillac.
What?
On his way.
Angie.
On his way to bet on the horse races at Hollywood Park.
This guy is a character.
Definitely not a samurai chef, or is he? I don't know.
Is he a true samurai chef?
I don't know. But he looked like a mob boss, and there were even rumors that he was connected to the Yakuza, but this remains completely unsubstantiated. Again,
yeah.
Also, his family was like, they were like, I don't know, maybe.
That's my weird uncle, and who knows?
Yeah, we all have that uncle that we're not quite sure how that person makes their money or what they're doing. But
why is that the case? There's always an uncle. Are you that uncle?
I am the uncle that they're like, I don't know how this person's alive. I think that's what my niece and nephew think about. We're like, how is he not dead yet with his polychronic sense of time? But I think it's more likely that he just understood this is Los Angeles and you got to play a part to get people to notice you. You got to be like larger than life. You got to be like a character. You got to get people to be like, hey, Americans, I know you're all eating cigarette flavored Jello, but like I got this cool spot. It was started by this dude who was part of the Japanese Imperial Army, and he served, and he's really great. And this place has been a staple. We used to have, this is LA. Like this is more of an LA story to me than anything. It's like you got to rebrand it. You got to talk about the weird history of it.
Seaweed flavored Jello.
Yeah,
there we go. You guys will like that, right? Slurping down Jello. Make it nori flavored. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So. Anyway, he changes the decor and he updates it a little bit for the time, but he still manages to maintain its status as like this legendary eatery. But it's still not serving sushi in the way we think of it today.
Okay.
So that's Kawafuku, right? That's the restaurant. That's like a little bit of the backstory and the history of how that place came to be. I'm going to put that on the back burner for a second while I prepare my next dish.
Oh, nice. While you roll your next roll,
roll my next roll.
That didn't work as well as I thought.
It's about a couple of besties named Noritoshi Kanai and Harry Wolf Jr., which if I was a gossip columnist... I wasn't
expecting the and Harry Wolf Jr. I'm like, sorry, I've been hearing all these Japanese names and that would just like hit like a bag of bricks. Like, sorry, Harry? Fun. Yeah, exactly.
Harry Wolf Jr. and Noritoshi Kanai. So if I was a gossip columnist and I had to come up with a cute Bennifer or Brangelina type like portmanteau merge for them, I would have coined them Canary. But
Canary.
That's besides the point.
I like that. Haven't we done this for us already? What's our BFF name?
Teheralam?
Wouldn't it just be Hane? Hane?
Oh, our first names. I was merging the last names.
I
was merging the first and last name. Kanai and Harry is Canary.
Canary. I like that.
I like Canary. Or Canary.
So Canary.
Canary. So Kanai, I think. Kanai. Again, apologies if I've mispronounced it. But Kanai, he managed Mutual Trading Company, which was an LA wholesaler of Japanese food products. And Harry was his business partner. And like all great bromances, they came from extremely different backgrounds, but both had a deep love of food.
I love this. It's like those Scotty's Castle and his
Yeah. Except neither of these guys were degenerates or liars.
My favorite bromance in history.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
They're just like, this guy's ripping me off, but we're going to be best friends and absolutely drive his wife insane.
He's really fun. He's a good storyteller. What are you going to do? And also when we die, we need him to take over.
Yeah. Yep.
And just live here. Or I'm sorry, when we die, he gets to live here. Anyway, so Harry Wolf, he was born into a Jewish family in Chicago and grew up during the Great Depression. And much like many people of that era, he held a million different jobs, like coal shoveler and bouncer at fancy restaurants.
Whoa.
Whatever you got to do to turn a profit, man, stay alive.
Veritable Covetaharian of jobs.
Yes. A Renaissance man. Yeah.
By force. He has to be.
I bet you that guy could not picture a year ahead, much like me.
No. Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But the thing he was really gifted at was sales. And in the 40s, he moves to DC. And apparently, Harry is credited with putting TVs in the windows of stores so people walking by could see it in action. Because remember, TVs were new at the times.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the first person to do that like ever in the States, but at least in DC, he's the person who was like, yeah, let's put them out and turn the TVs on so people could watch. I forget what the show was that they were having them watch, but it was they were basically like people can come by and see them through the windows and be like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then they would buy TVs and a bunch of other stuff that were in these stores.
Oh, that's a genius idea. Can I tell you my fun fact about the TV is that the house I grew up in was the home of the man who invented it.
What?
Yeah. Philo T. Farnsworth lived in my room. Well, he went to school.
His name sounds like you're like 8 years old and you came with an imaginary friend and
Philo
you're like,
T.
I know
Farnsworth.
the ghost of the man who invented TVs is Philo Farnsworth. And I'd be like,
I used to make a
sure.
joke. I used to make a joke that he was because the TV was also in that room at one point, and we were like, "Oh, Philo, look, it's in here. He's gonna haunt us." And then it became my room, and yeah, that's the story. He lived in my room, and I went and double checked it on the census, and it's true. So
that's kind of crazy, though, that you grew up. Your childhood bedroom was the guy who invented TV.
Yeah, he lived there when he went to college. Yeah,
we're all waiting for you to create the next big thing. That is really crazy, actually.
Yeah,
legitimately.
That's my fun little. And he went on to hate TVs. He was like, the only time he ever was like, oh, I don't regret what I did was when he watched the moon landing.
He regretted watching or the only time he didn't regret it?
No, that was the only, he was like, oh, this is what it was made for. Or maybe it was not the moon landing because he died before then, but it was the first launch, like the first Apollo mission or whatever. Where he was like, this is it.
That sounds like many people who helped create the internet who look at it now and they're like, this is awful. This is just a weapon.
They send their kids to school with no tablets at all.
Yeah,
and that should tell everybody something, is that the people who invented those banned their kids from using it. So
anyway, so he does that. He gets a reputation. And from there, he makes enough money and connections that he's able to move to sunny Brentwood, where, and this is true, his circle of friends included our very own Icarian toilet indulger king.
No.
Ricardo Nixon, a.k.a. Dickie Nixie's Soviet pool party, a.k.a. Pepsi's Dallas brand ambassador the day JFK was assassinated, a.k.a. the inventor of mixing potato vodka with tortilla chips and making me want to die.
His legacy lived on through your bowel movement that inevitably came from you eating that food. Dude, why is he everywhere? Why is Richard Nixon just his little fingers in every little area?
He's just here.
Dickie
so charismatic was Harry that Nixon begged him to come back to D.C. when he was finally elected president.
What?
He was like, I want to give you a job in the administration. Please come to D.C. with me.
Insane. That's what he did with the Pepsi guy, too.
But Harry, he was like, listen, Dickie, I just became a grandfather, and there's no way I'm going to miss that shit.
Good for him.
That's the kind of bro-ass homie that Harry was. He was like,
that's the kind of grandpa. That's a good grandpa.
He was like, have fun doing Watergate or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, right. Saying a bunch of awful things on tape.
Yeah. So he's like, nope, I'm sticking around here. I'm going to hang out. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to be in my grandchildren's life. So props.
It's good for him. Like that guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Noritoshi Kanai had grown up in Shinjuku, which is a district in Tokyo. And when Kato was being forced into an internment camp, Kanai found himself enlisted in the Royal Japanese Army and eventually sent to occupied Burma, where he was responsible for providing rations and supplies to soldiers.
Isn't that one of those battlegrounds that was absolutely horrific? Like devastating? Oh.
Yeah. Tens of thousands of Japanese soldiers famously died during Japan's occupation of Burma, many of them from malnutrition.
Yep.
Which I think is kind of fascinating. Like this has like this crazy impact on his life. Yeah. Not just from like the death, but also just like he's in charge of getting supplies out and there's malnutrition and people are dying of malnutrition. He's like, what am I supposed to do?
He can't feed anybody. Imagine being your job and being like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't feed anybody. Ah!
And this essentially like breaks him, right? This breaks him of the idea of like the magnificence of the, everything that they had been told about being Japanese for whatever the 150 years coming out of the Meiji Restoration, which is famously, what happened to Japan after the bomb was dropped and, the rebuilding and all that. So he's kind of like this idea of what I had of what Japan was going to be and like how impenetrable and amazing and magnificent. He's like, it's shattered because I'm just watching all these dudes who are like, there's not enough food and there's nothing I can do about it. So,
and whose fault is it that we're here?
Yeah.
It's doing nothing for us. Anyway.
So he comes out of the war and he works a few different jobs until about 1951, where he joined the Tokyo Mutual Trading Company, which was affiliated with LA's Mutual Trading Company. Okay. And he takes his first trip to Los Angeles. And when he's there, he noticed that the only option for sushi was stuff like inari and lighter fare. You know inari? It's like the tofu fried with like the rice inside of it.
My favorite thing to eat.
Is that your favorite one?
I love inari. It's I don't know. It's just so good. I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. As far as sushi goes, I like the spicy, crunchy. What's it called? I don't remember. crab rolls and stuff.
Oh.
But no.
Spicy, crunchy. I don't know what you're saying. I thought you were saying something that's
spicy. I can't remember the name.
Crunchy, like
the spicy, crunchy shrimp rolls. I like those.
Okay.
But no, Inari is so good. What's your favorite sushi?
You should be telling us in the comments, Hannah. You should be writing it right now as I'm writing.
All right.
Even though we haven't posted this to YouTube yet. But anyway, that's all he sees there. And it's nothing like the fancy Tokyo style nigiri sushi. He's like, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. There's none of this stuff here. But nevertheless, he's actually charmed by Los Angeles. And he decides to move his family there, or here, I should say, a few years later. So he just leaves Japan. He's like, I'm moving to LA. Screw it. I like this place.
Nice.
And at first, he tries to make his mark by importing Harvest sesame cookies. But that idea was easily stolen by another importer. And so he needed a better hook. And he's kind of upset by this. He's just like, America's like, capitalism's hard. This kind of sucks.
Yep. Oh, that was like really ramping up to that era.
Yeah,
capitalism.
It's true. So Kanai and Harry met by chance at a Chicago trade show in 1964. So they two are convention friends.
They met at a convention?
Basically, yeah.
Should we open a restaurant together?
Let's do it.
That sounds awful.
I'll cook everything.
And I won't.
Yeah. I'll be like, Hannah, go out and entertain everybody. It's like a reversal of roles. I'll be like, I'll be in the kitchen while you, I don't know, tell men how they should be more manly. I don't know.
Converse with men.
Yeah. Honestly, it'd be great. It works out great for everybody.
It does.
Yeah, because I like being in the kitchen and you like chatting with randos. I like chatting with randos too, though.
I can't. If I'm in the kitchen, I feel like I'm actually in prison just because I'm so bored.
Yeah.
Like,
I cannot understand
nothing about feminism or whatever. I'm just bored.
No,
I don't like it.
I love the kitchen. I love cooking. I love chopping onions. I've said this before. I love chopping onions. It's so much fun. I don't know why. It's a sickness.
You just love onions, man.
I do. Anyway, so Kanai said in his autobiography, a bald man who, quote, looked like a beefy Buddhist monk yelled at him from across the hall, "Hey, are you Japanese?"
Oh, all the grace of an American right there.
Love it. And so it's not clear to me why Harry decided to corner him or how they got into business together. I don't get it. I don't know why. Like, I couldn't find it in any of the stuff that I was reading. But it doesn't matter because apparently they locked eyes and it was a meet cute for the ages while poor Richard Nixon wept in the corner after yet another rejection.
I bet he was so jealous of their friendship.
He was like, I'm president and I can't get you to be my BFF, but this Japanese guy in like a trade show in Chicago can be your BFF just because he's Japanese.
What, you want me to be Japanese? I can be Japanese for you.
I could do it. But we're not going to do that. But
no, we're not.
We can all tell what Richard Nixon would have done. Can you imagine him trying to do it, just trying so desperately to get Harry's approval and completely missing why it's so gross? I don't know. Anyway.
100%. I could see that.
Yeah. Anyway. It's just like, what do you mean you're friends with this guy instead?
Aw, as he's pooping on his jet.
What if this whole time... No, Nixon wasn't stupid. I was going to say he was evil, but he wasn't dumb. I was going to say another
He was
joke.
very smart.
He was very smart. That was the problem. Anyway, so at some point a year later, they take a boys' trip across Asia. Ooh, and they're trying to find a novel food product to import to America. And after hitting a brick wall... Kanai suggested they go to a place in the Ginza district called Shinosuke. And Harry, at this point, had never eaten sushi, but as you can imagine, he's boisterous and he's always up for trying some new shit. He's like, whatever, I'll try. I don't care.
Yeah.
And as you might expect, Harry ate that shit up.
Yeah.
He was like, this is the best. I love this. This is delicious. Also, this place is not like cheap necessarily, I don't think.
No.
So he's balling. And not only did he eat at that time, he kept going back to Shinosuke over and over again that entire trip without Kanai even knowing.
More of this.
Yeah. And he got some crazy bill for it, like that came to the business.
Oh, no.
And it's like, I looked up the figure. It was like, at the time, it was like $300 or something, which for inflation was like $2.5 grand or something of amount of sushi that he'd eaten at this place.
That's how good it was. Wow.
Yeah. And then Kanai was also like, dude, what the hell is why do I have like a $3,000 bill for sushi from this place?
Oh, it's my friend, Harry Wolf.
Yeah. And Harry Wolf apparently was like fixated. And he was like, no, dude, you don't understand. I've tried every single thing on the menu. And I didn't even get mercury poisoning because that hasn't been invented yet. But he was convinced
Hasn't been invented. No.
Yeah, that comes later. But he was convinced that this was the hook that they were looking for.
I think he's right.
So he approached his bromantic partner and he lays it all out. And Harry's all, bro, we have got to get on this sushi train, dude. You don't even understand.
I will continue to eat this until I die. Yes. I can't stop eating this. We have to bring it to home, to where I'm at.
And Kanai, he predictably is like, dude, are you insane? White people eat cigarette-flavored Jell-O. There's absolutely no way in hell they're going to be eating raw fish.
Yeah, seriously. How are they going to sell that? That's crazy.
It's crazy to think about that, right? Because even now, like, there's parts of this country that absolutely, people I know who will absolutely never, they're like, I'm not going to eat raw fish. That's disgusting.
That was me. Because I grew up inland, like in a land-bound state. Never would have ever wanted to eat raw fish until I actually had good sushi. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Do you remember what it was that you ate? I'm curious.
Salmon. It was a salmon. It was like a little, I don't know the names of them. It's rice with like a little like thing of salmon laying on it.
Oh, I think,
like a wrap around. I'm the worst. I don't know the name. But I remember being like, this is delicious. It just took, but yeah, I grew up thinking that's ew. Why would anyone eat raw fish?
Right. And Kanai is like,
kids
understandably,
just like slurp down those eggs and everything. Like we go to sushi and they're just like eating the salmon roe like it's candy. And I'm like, all right.
They basically, Harry is like, no, he doesn't give up. He's like, dude, you do not understand. If a Depression era Jewish guy from Chicago can absolutely lose his shit over this, everybody in America is going to eat it. I promise you.
I would argue that a Depression era Jewish guy probably has a way more open mind, though, toward most things, you know?
I don't know. I think he's basically like, if I think of a Depression era Jewish person, I mean, I would think that they'd be like stubborn. You know, it's like all Depression era people are like, oh, I only eat like beans and I'm not going to like
out of a can.
Like I'm not going to eat like fish seems like raw fish, like on some Japanese things seems extravagant. Like, and like, you know, I'm sorry to say a lot of Midwestern people, I could say this because I'm married in, they're very locked into some of their palates. Not all Midwesterners, but definitely the Midwestern dad palate is not one that's known for being very adventurous.
Yeah, no.
And that's kind of the point that Harry's making. He's just like, dude, if I will eat this, he's like, I'm speaking for all Midwestern people from the 50s, like from this area. If I will eat this, everybody else also will.
I wonder if also there was that, like, the draw of, like, we're done with the war. We're all making more money now. So, like, this is a fancy thing. So, that's a draw, too. If, like, look at this foreign fancy thing that you can now spend your new money on. I don't know.
It's a good question. But basically, he still hasn't quite managed to convince Kanai. He's not really on board still. So, Harry stuck in the knife. Let's say he's stuck in the sushi knife. Yeah, and he reminds his friend of the Harvest Sesame Cookies debacle. And he says to him, if you take sushi... remember the cookies? He says, if you take sushi to the United States, who's going to copy you?
True.
No one. No one That's
dare.
who.
No one would dare.
No one's going to copy you. So, Kanai had no choice but to relent. Harry had convinced him. So, Canary, they embarked on their quest to introduce sushi to the great people of Southern California. And that
to LA first. No.
Yeah. And that's where I'll pick up next week with part 2 of the Ventura Boulevard became to be known as Sushi Row.
Dude, I'm excited. I love this. I love the bromance of it. I love how you set up the bromance. Always a good way to get me in on anything.
Yeah. A good bromance. Oh. These were real people, so I don't want to say that they kissed because I don't know. I don't want to slander them if they didn't say that they did. Also,
it's their own personal life. If they did, so
in my heart, in the fan fiction of my heart, they always do. Everyone always kisses. That's
everyone
the fan
kisses.
fiction of this show's heart.
Yeah. It's just everyone's kissing.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it started in L.A. That American sushi started in L.A.
I mean, that's again, to be clear, it's not that there was no. This is the same thing as I said with the Thai food. It's not like nothing exists. Or I'm just saying like the current incarnation of what you think of as a sushi restaurant with like all of it. And I'll get into all of that next week.
Okay.
I'm going to get into in depth. Week. There's a few things that I was looking at and I was like, oh, this is weirdly like, for lack of a better word, neurodivergent fixations that I have on things that are like really interesting that I want to get into, but like I don't want to cram it into one episode. So I'll get more into that and explain how that ends up happening. But the main thing I was interested in with this one was the restaurant, was Kafuku, and like the idea that like, how people would probably tell the narrative now. They would just be like, it's these two importers who came in and they just were like, they brought it in, and then it was a thing. But it's like, no,
American
I'm setting
dream.
this up.
It's like,
right.
Nah.
No, but I'm like, there's this whole other history with this restaurant that existed for like 50 years before this is even like so I haven't even gotten to any of how that happens, but
I'm excited.
It's built on the backs of I mean, I shouldn't say built on the backs of Japanese people because he's already a Japanese guy who's importing it, but I'm just rambling now. What I'm saying is
there's always a foundation. Things don't come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and there's this credibility that this place has already established itself over the course of 50 years that I think is really interesting. But anyway, I'm giving too much away. I'll save that for next week.
I've been loving the food ones. I've really been. I mean, I need sushi right now. I'm probably gonna go get some from like a grocery store sushi.
You're not allowed to eat sushi. You should save sushi for next week, and we'll do a live recording. We'll do a live reaction to you eating sushi from the grocery store for Patreon. I'm kidding. No, who makes good sushi?
Costco.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah, of course.
We get that all the time. Just a big 2 huge trays of different kinds of sushi. It's good.
Yeah, I'm like, should I go to Costco right now and get sushi? Shit, I'm hungry.
I don't know if it's at your you have to check your Costco because everyone's kind of different.
I'm pretty sure I've seen sushi at our Costco. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
This is LA. It's Sushi Row. Of course, they're gonna have sushi at the Costco here.
But at first, I was like, Costco sushi. No, Costco sushi. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like how you're like Costco sushi, whereas I'm like Costco sushi.
Yeah, like the Jack Donnie. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, Costco. I love Costco. I don't love being there, but I love the idea of it, and I like what we get from there. But
I like the Costco sushi. Anyway, that's my tab. I'll be back next week with the conclusion. It's only a 2-parter. It's not that long, but
this is a 5-parter on.
This is a 5-parter in the history of sushi, which in the podcast landscape these days, I feel like that's not that crazy.
No, there's absolutely like 6-parters and 7-parters.
Anyway, let's go on to close our tabs, which I'm going to keep some of mine.
How should we do it?
I need to keep doing stuff, but I'm going to close one of them ceremonially.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, I don't know. I'm like, what do we got? Neither of them are, I guess we just have a time,
like time passing.
Time, sure. And then a bomb going off. I don't know why
Let's do it. A time bomb. How about that?
Or like a sushi knife goes through it and it cuts it.
Yeah, it ticks down, and then a knife slices it.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. You want to count us down?
Thanks, Alyssa, in advance. Yeah, I'll count down. 3, 2, 1. Close them.
All right.
I am closing so many.
Moving on to listener emails. So this week's listener email, let me pull it up. So we're only going to do one because we got a voice memo from Kat in Oregon, and it's kind of long, but I loved all of it. And I thought about, initially I thought like, well, we can cut it down, but I was like, no, it's too great. We kind of have to just listen to it. So Kat gets to have the stage to themselves completely right now.
Nice.
So let me pull this up.
Yeah, I'm ready. Should we count down?
Yeah, we'll do 3, 2, 1, play. 3, 2, 1, play.
Hi. My name is Kat. Love the podcast. I look forward to it every Wednesday. I look forward to it on Tuesday, but it comes out on Wednesdays, so here we are. I recommended my friend Rudy listen to it, and now he is also a regular listener. So shout out to Rudy Boots. He can't fail.
I love it.
I want to tell you about the monkey puzzle tree, which is something that I'm perennially obsessed with. Funny, because it's a tree. So this tree, the plant itself is fucking fascinating, but the thing that's really cool about it in my area, I'm in Oregon City, south of Portland, is that in 1905, Portland hosted the, I guess, centennial or bicentennial, the centennial Lewis and Clark exposition. I don't fucking know. Like, it was, some colonial shit. And if you hear chewing, that's one of my goats, and I apologize. She's doing it right in my face.
There are goats? I can hear crickets and goats.
One of the things they did at that exposition was they gave out seeds for the monkey puzzle tree, which is native to Chile. It's the national tree of Chile. It's native to, like, the cloud forests of Patagonia. Oh. It's their national tree. It's fucking cool as shit. And so a bunch of people were fascinated by this tree. And I think they also gave out seedlings. Like, I can't find a whole lot of sources about what exactly they gave out. But seedlings, whatever. And people planted them all over Portland. And so now we're coming up on, what is that, like 120 years? So we have all of these trees, these monkey puzzle trees that were planted all over Portland that are coming up on about 120 years. And so you can find them all over Portland. And I mean, that wouldn't be, now one of them is peeing.
I can hear it.
Pause for goat pee. I probably shouldn't have recorded this out here. Goats are very distracting. But the tree itself is fascinating. So you like pull up a picture of it because they're fucking wild looking. They're called monkey puzzle trees because like they got brought back to Europe at some point, and somebody was like, "Oh man, it looks like a tree that even a monkey couldn't puzzle, couldn't figure out how to climb it." And it's true because they have these crazy spiky branches, which are probably an adaptation to protect themselves from fucking dinosaurs because they haven't really changed as far as we know in what is it 450 million years, 45 million years. There's a zero there isn't, I'm not sure, I don't remember off the top of my head, but basically they're that spiky so that dinosaurs can't chew on them. And they are also dioecious, so you need a male and a female in order to make viable seeds. The seed themselves are like these, they think of a pine nut, but make it like 500 times bigger. So these are these giant nuts. They're a really important food source for indigenous people of the region. So I think there's the Myalpa. Don't quote me. And yeah, so they're dioecious. You need a male and a female. But here's the fucking clincher: they're also wind pollinated. So like it's not just like a bee flies up and gets pollen from the male and takes it over to the female. Like it has to blow. Like wind has to blow in a particular direction so that it goes from one tree to the other tree. And we're not totally sure on how far that tree has to be. The farthest I've seen is 4 miles of documented, like actual, it actually working. But there's also this really interesting thing where in their native range, there's these parakeets. And they think that they probably have a symbiotic relationship with the parakeets because while the parakeets are keeping cover in like their super spiky branches, it's possible that they are also actually like acting as pollinators because, they're bopping around in these trees getting the pollen on them, and then they fly over to the female tree. And so they're essentially giant bumblebees. They also probably like chew the skins off of the seeds and drop them, and like that helps hasten germination. I don't know. They're ancient trees. I am fascinated by them. And I actually got a bunch of seeds from a guy in Canby, Oregon, which is near me. I'm in Oregon City, south of Oregon, south of Portland. And his tree looks like it might be hermaphrodite. It might have male and female, like it has seeds and it might have male cones on it. I don't know. That's what it looks like. Anyway. Pause for more goat chewing. Yeah, I don't know how much of that you want to use. It's also like 11 o'clock and I need to put the goats up. Oh, that said, I just listened to this Wednesday's, like today's episode. It's what, what day is it? 27th, I think. Yeah, it's the 27th. Like the tractor thing. I am not a farmer, but I know a lot of farmers, and I also use a tractor regularly, and that's all they're fucking doing is listening to like podcasts and audiobooks and stuff. So I don't know. That's a really long recording. Use it or don't. I think I'm also kind of obsessed with soil and all the things that live in soil, so maybe I'll open that tab, send it to you next.
I want to hang out with Kat.
This is legendary. That was a legendary voice memo.
I felt like I was in Kat's world.
Yeah, honestly, that's like listen.
I've been transported.
to
this person's moment, like a forest dwelling creature who has goat familiars that they're feeding. You know what I mean?
That was like I felt like that was a mini podcast. I was like, should we put crickets in the back of everything we record? It was so calming to listen to it. I never realized.
To Kat telling me about tree germination. Like, also the fact that those things are like dinosaur. They're not even like the things that used to like it needs to defend against aren't even around anymore is insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kat,
I thought that was a fantastic voice memo, so I wanted to make sure
incredible.
I was like, we can't cut any of that. I was like,
no, you have to leave the goat piss and the goat eating.
That was a journey.
That was a journey, and I felt like there was just such a casualness to like, oh, by the way, here's this, and I'm feeding my goats, and I'm just like, I want to be at your house.
Yeah,
tell me more. Anyway, thanks, Kat. That was incredible. Also, Rudy Can't Fail is a good song in defense of ska. So.
Ska. Can't Fail Cafe is all I can think of in Emeryville. But anyway, hopefully Kat has come. At this time, we've already been to Oregon, to Portland. But maybe we'll have met Kat. That'd be really fun if Kat came to Rose City Comic Con, and then that would be very different. It'd be funny to have heard this and then met Kat in person. Anyway,
Kat, I'll talk about soil with you all day.
She will. Right? She'll talk about dirt nonstop and digging, as you all know.
Yeah, dude. Anyway,
good to know that farmers and people who ride tractors listen to podcasts and audiobooks all day. I guess that makes sense. I just assumed that it would have been too loud.
Me too.
Again, I know nothing about tractor. Maybe there's like quiet tractors that aren't loud, or they have noise canceling headphones.
Noise canceling headphones, probably. Anyway, people who drive tractors, let us know at 500opentabs@gmail.com, where you can also write in your own listener mail. Tell us something you've read recently, a rabbit hole you've been down, something interesting, etc.
We've been getting more voice memos, which is really great. I'm very happy to hear them.
Fun.
I'm very excited. So please, you guys keep them coming. It's great to hear your voices or like get a sense of where you are. It was amazing.
Yeah, that painted an entire story and picture.
It did. Yeah.
Anyway.
Otherwise you can follow us on we're on Blue Sky 500 Open Tabs or 500 Open Tabs on Instagram. Additionally, we have a Patreon and a YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube, please go do that and comment. Let us know what your favorite sushi dish is. We're trying to get up to
1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we're very close. So even if you don't watch on YouTube, just go over there and give us because when we get to 1,000, we can start
making tens of cents.
Money. Yeah, tens of cents. I could get a quarter.
Yeah,
even
you could. Then you could subscribe to the Patreon.
I could.
You could be spending. That's like 2 days of Patreon money.
Perfect.
Quarter a month. I don't know. Anyway, I'm terrible at money laundering. Apparently, as obviously.
So, obviously, yeah.
Yes, Hannah. Where can they find you otherwise?
At Hannah Hillam on everything. And what about you?
I'm at PermaFriends on Instagram and Covetarian on Blue Sky. In the meantime, we'll be back next week. I'll have part 2 of the sushi story of how we make Sushi Row. I think that's it. So, Hannah, I will see you at the Secundus Nixon tribute toilet in the sky.
And I will see you somewhere in time, floating around in time.
I like that. Non-linear.
Yeah. Excellent. Non-linear existence. Yeah. Time is
maybe
a flat
we'll
circle.
See you guys next week, or maybe we won't. We don't know.
Maybe we won't. Well, you will.
The relationship's all that matters.
Ooh, why is it spooky? That's a good fade out on that. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.